Nazreen, assalamu alaikum. Today I'm joined by a very special, by a very distinguished guest, the President of Palestine, Mr. Mehmood Abbas, also affectionately referred in the Arab world as Abu Mazen. President, in his own life, has not only been an academic, a freedom fighter, a politician, and a statesman. I'm honored to be sitting next to a man who has not only witnessed the key events in history, but has played its own role in shaping them. Mr. President, a very warm welcome to Pakistan.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can I begin by asking you that what brings you to Pakistan and what is the significance of your visit at this moment?
You know that we have very significant relations since one century maybe. Started with the late Mufti al-Quds, Mufti Palestine, whose name Al-Hajj Muhammad Amin al-Husseini. From the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, he used to come here. He used to receive strong support from Pakistan, from Pakistani people, and after that, when you got your independence, from the government of Pakistan. Which means all the people here showed sympathy with Palestine because they feel that it touched their hearts, touched also their minds. After that, late Chairman Arafat had very close relations with Benazir Bhutto, with her father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and with the government as a whole. All in all, we have a very strong relations with Pakistan, and we want to keep and to develop these relations from time to time. For that, we come here in order to talk to our friends about our concerns, about our future, and in the same time to develop our relations with them.
Mr. President, but I have also been told that Pakistan has become the first country to host a Palestinian embassy. This is the first country where you have opened up a formal embassy.
Yes, by the way, Pakistan in 1989 were from the first who recognized Palestine as a state. After we declared that in the PNC, Palestinian National Council, Pakistan was from the beginning recognized Palestine. Now they allocated a land for us to build, and they will build, the government will build this embassy for Palestine.
In November, you went and obtained the non-member status of the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that the President of the United States tried to dissuade you, to stop you from not actually going that way. What was the objective? Why you persisted in achieving this member status, despite the American resistance?
It is not the President of the United Nations, no.
The President of the United States.
Yes. The Americans and the Israelis said that it is not the suitable time for you to get or to achieve, first of all, to achieve full member state. And we failed at that time, 2 years ago. Then we asked for non-member state, observer state. Also, they believed that it's not the due time to get this achievement. But we went there.
Why? Why was it important now?
I will tell you why. When we get a non-member state or full member state, it means that we are a state under occupation, which means that all the Palestinian occupied territories are now a state under occupation. Before that, Israel used to say that these territories are disputed area, which means that it is for them and for us. Now they cannot say anything about it because now we are a state and we are under occupation, but all our territories which had been occupied since 1967, all of it are occupied territories. This is one goal. The other goal, when we become a state, we can join all the specialized organizations which belong to the United Nations, and which will help us to go everywhere and to be a member, active member in all these organizations.
Mr. President, how has Pakistan helped you while achieving the non-member status in the UN?
Of course, without any hesitation. They said, okay, we will vote for you. Not only voting for us, but also urged some other countries in the neighborhood around, those countries whom they have some good relations with them, to urge them, to ask them to help us. For that, it is not a matter of Pakistan alone, but some other countries listened to Pakistan and voted for us.
President, you just mentioned that with this non-member status in the United Nations, Palestinian territories are not merely territories or disputed territories. They are now a state under occupation. I wonder if this applies to both Gaza and the West Bank.
Of course. All these territories are
by one state.
One state, yes. And according to Oslo Agreement, there is a unity, recognize that there is a unity between Gaza and the West Bank, and there will be a safe passage between both sides. Still, we are putting on the table the safe passage which will make a link between Gaza and the West Bank. So when we talk about the occupied territories, we mean West Bank, we mean East Jerusalem, we mean also Gaza Strip.
But as President, as you have yourself mentioned, that Pakistani people are very passionate about Palestine from the very beginning.
Yes, yes.
Pakistani people are also very concerned of this conflict between the Gaza and the West Bank, between your government and Ismail Haniyeh's government. Can you explain us what is the conflict? Why, or is just the Islamic conflict?
Unfortunately, there is no conflict, but there was a coup.
There was a?
Coup d'etat, coup.
Okay.
The Gaza people, Hamas people, committed this crime. I say it's a crime, and took their decision to bring Gaza away from the West Bank and form their own government. There is no reasons. From that time, from 2007 till now, we tried very hard in order to have some sort of reconciliation between both sides.
Why is it not working?
It's not working for many reasons. We are not going to discuss it, but I can tell you something, that they won the elections in 2006. Now we ask them to go to the elections. We believe in democracy, and they should go with us to the elections. If they want, okay, and if they win, it's okay. If they do not win, some other body will win. Now, till now, they are reluctant. They don't want elections. This is the issue. This is the core issue. For that last week, we were in Cairo discussing or focusing on this point, specific point. Are you going to elections or not? Do you want elections or not? They used to say, now it is not the due time, it's not the suitable time. Let us form, first of all, government, they call it transitional government, and after that we will go to elections. We said both will go together, the government and transitional government and the elections. This is the problem, and we hope that they will make their mind and return back to the right direction and go to the elections.
Mr. President, when I was in Columbia University in New York, I got the opportunity of taking few courses from the great Palestinian intellectual Edward Said as well. And I'm sure that you must have met him many times.
Yes, of course. Said. This is a very great man.
And in October of 1993, after the Oslo Accord, 1 month after this, he wrote a very long essay and a piece that was published in a review of books that was titled The Morning After, in which he warned that the Oslo Accord is flawed. PLO has given everything, the right of Israel acceptance and the recognition, but has not received anything in return. And one of the things he warned is that Israel will use this to create disunity among the Palestinian ranks from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and the others. You have been one of the signatories.
We cannot talk about the role of Israel with Hamas. No, there is no role. They didn't help. No, we cannot say it. Hamas did it alone. But maybe he is right when he talks about the future, and he said that the Israelis will take excuses, to make many excuses not to continue. It's okay. But what shall we do? We have to go for peace. We started from Oslo the steps of peace. We put the first steps with Rabin and with Shimon Peres. But if you remember that after 2 years, Rabin had been assassinated. Why? Because he wanted at that time to continue the peace process. From that time till now, we have Netanyahu, I can say one word, maybe he doesn't believe in peace. For that, we still, in our place, we cannot achieve any progress, not because of us, but because of the Israelis.
But Mr. President, I come back to it because you are one of the principal witnesses to the history. I mean, you signed the instrument.
Yes, I signed that.
When in the White House on 13 September 1993,
exactly.
You signed the Oslo Accord with President Bill Clinton and Yasser Arafat and Yitzhak Shamir and Shimon Peres.
No, Yitzhak Rabin.
Yitzhak Rabin. Do you think the Oslo Accord was a flawed agreement? Do you think you lost it?
I think it is the right step.
It was a right step?
It was a right
Reflecting back 19 years ago?
Whatever it is. Because as it is a right step, there are many enemies for the right thing to do it, either from their side or from our side. There are many people do not believe in peace. For that, they will sabotage the peace, sabotage the peace process. Especially the Israeli government, especially the current Israeli government, who does not believe in peace. So they want to put any obstacles in its way not to achieve that peace. So it's not our mistake. It's not the mistake in the peace. It's the mistake from those the other people who do not believe in peace.
But some of the four main fundamental issues which were to be settled by the final status negotiations in 5 years.
Yes.
Your territories, your borders, the status of Jerusalem, and what was refugees, right? The right to return refugees.
Yeah.
None of them, Mr. President, has been effectively addressed or settled so far.
If you remember, in 2008, we started a very reasonable or very good negotiations with Mehmood Abbas, and we handled all these issues, and we achieved understandings on all these issues, especially the security. The security file had been closed and finished, and the other files like borders, refugees, Jerusalem, we were about to achieve, but unfortunately, he stepped down. They created many problems, legal problems for them, and he stepped down, and he is out. When the successor came, he denied everything and wanted to start from the beginning. So this is the problem.
Mr. President, do you think sometimes reflect that, like Edward Said had argued, that instead of a two-state solution, a one-state, binational, Jewish, Muslim, and Christian state?
We cannot talk about this one-state solution.
Why not?
We want our state.
You want our state?
We want our state. We believe in two-state solution to live side by side in security, in peace and security. This is exactly our doctrine. This is exactly our policy. This is exactly the international policy. When you talk with anybody around the world, they talk about two-state solution. Now, if we want to talk about one-state solution, it's not a matter of Palestinian agreement. It's also a matter of Israeli agreement. The Israelis do not want, and we do not want. So why we talk about something is denied by both sides.
when we look as outsiders, Pakistani Muslims, when we read about your predicament, your challenge and your tragedy, we see you're something like 3 to 4 million in Gaza and West Bank, about 4 million.
4 million, yes.
4 million together. There's more than 1 million Palestinians living inside Israel.
1 million and a half.
1 million. That makes it 5 million. You have at least 3 to 4 million diaspora. That makes it something like 8 to 9 million altogether.
Yes, something
now,
like that.
And the kind of state Israelis and Americans are giving you, everything that is coming in your state, whether it's energy, whether it's weapons, whether it's finances, everything is being controlled by Israelis. They manage. You do not have full sovereignty.
Yeah.
Why not go for a state and a democratic struggle inside the state? You hold the key to the world peace, not only the Middle Eastern peace, the world peace.
No, we don't have a majority for this proposal, for this project to do it, as I said, in the Palestinian people or in the Israeli people. I will tell you something now. Well, as you said, everything is controlled by Israel. Yes. Why? Because we are under occupation. But what we get our independence, every Palestinian can relate to this, to his country, and have its nationality, have its identity card, has everything. So I think this is the best solution for us, not for the Palestinians who are inside Israel. The Palestinians who are inside Israel, they are Israelis, and they are satisfied with their own situation. Now we talk about not only who are living in the West Bank and Gaza, we are looking for the outsiders who are living everywhere. They should have something to relate to. It's Palestine. They can return at any time for it. Besides that, we have something, we call it the refugee rights. We will discuss it, of course, with the Israelis.
I also want to discuss that, but let me take a quick break. Let us take a break. I am joined here by President of Palestine, Mr. Mehmood Abbas, and I am very interested in understanding that what will happen to the right of return for the refugees after the break. Basil, welcome back. I'm joined here by President of Palestine, Mr. Mehmood Abbas, and before the break, I wanted to ask him that what will happen to the Palestinian diaspora when we also remember the Palestinian diaspora, it was the power and intellectual prowess of the Palestinian diaspora that placed Arafat and his colleagues back into the West Bank. Let's discuss from there. I also would again refer to Edward Said, who mentioned this, that it was the power of the Palestinian diaspora, its ability to influence the policy making, the United Nations, the literature, the printing, the publishing, the media in Europe and United States and all across, that has brought Arafat and yourself back into West Bank. How would you cater to the needs of this diaspora?
When we talk about diaspora, we talk about refugees. And when we talk about refugees, we talk about those who had been expelled from Palestine, from Israel, now the territories of Israel.
1948.
1948, little bit 1949. All of them, these people, originally from these parts of historical Palestine, okay? There are 3 terms of reference for these people to handle their issue. The first is the resolution 194 from the General Assembly. It talks about the right of the Palestinians as following: that there should be compensation for those who do not want to return.
Those who are settled in Canada.
Wherever they settled, doesn't matter. But if they want to return, okay, they should return. If they don't, they should be paid.
Where would they return to? Into Israel proper or in West Bank?
This is the 194, it is to Israel, of course. They will return to their homes. This is bluntly. So you can understand that the right of return is personal right. And everybody will decide whether he will return or not. It's up to him. And for us, we have to defend his right. In 1968, 242 says that there should be a solution, just solution for the refugees. In 2002, there is the Arab Peace Initiative. Arab Peace Initiative.
From the Saudis.
It was for the Saudis, but now it is Arab Peace Initiative and Muslim Peace Initiative. It is adopted, sponsored by all the Muslim countries. It reads as following. There should be a just and agreed upon solution to the refugees according to 194. Now, the Arab Peace Initiative became a part of the roadmap of the quartet. And the roadmap became a resolution in the Security Council 1515. So it is a Security Council resolution. As I said, read as following, that there should be just and agreed upon. Agreed upon between whom? Between us and the Israelis. For that it is on the table to be discussed. When we reach to this, and we already talked about this, we already put it in details, myself and Prime Minister Olmert, we talked a lot about this, about how, what is the number of the people who will return, who will be compensated, who will return, everything, but unfortunately we failed because the man stepped down. Now,
because if he had continued and not stepped down, you think you would have made progress?
I think, of course, I'm sure that we will achieve all the core, what we call core issues. So this is the scope of the refugees. How can we handle it? How can we solve it? These are the terms of reference, and according to these terms of reference, we have the right to talk with the Israeli side and to find a solution for 5 million Palestinian tragedy. Some of them are waiting, not in Canada, in Syria, in Jordan.
So the 5 million? They're close to 5 million?
They are more than 5 million.
At the moment?
Yes, and I am refugee.
Mr. President, if I take you a bit forward, many things have changed in the last 30, 40 years, and one of the recent change is the Arab Spring, the so-called Arab Spring, the phenomena of the revolution. And one of the biggest thing which is relevant to your case is the Muslim Brotherhood and Mohammed Morsi, President Mohammed Morsi is coming to power. Now we all know the Muslim Brotherhood is the parent political party for Hamas. How has it changed your relationship with Hamas, with Egypt and with the region?
You see, we cannot deny that Hamas is a part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood and President Morsi shows sympathy with them. But to be fair, they look at the Palestinian cause in general, not only to Hamas or to Fatah or to the others. They try to find solution to the problem between us and them, and of course to help us for a solution with the Americans and others. So I cannot say that they are biased. They are not biased. They are worried. But if you ask me about the Arab Spring, I will tell you something. If you ask me about the Arab Spring,
why not? Please.
I will tell you that from the very beginning, when it started in Tunisia, we instructed our people, please be away from the events which are taking place in Tunisia.
Why?
Because we are not a part of the Tunisian people.
Okay.
We are not Tunisians. It is a problem between the Tunisian people, the opposition and the government. And also in Libya and also in Egypt, and the same thing is taking place in Syria. If we interfere, we will lose. We consider ourselves as guests in these countries.
So what is your position on what's happening in Syria?
We cannot say anything.
But even Hamas has shut down the shop.
I know Hamas, why they have their own reasons, Hamas, but we stick to our policy, do not interfere in the internal issues in Syria. And by the way, yes, the day before yesterday, I sent a delegation to Syria to look after the problems which had been created to the Palestinian camps. But we are not a part of the conflict in Syria, and we are not with this part or with that part.
I haven't started to grasp and understand your caution towards the change coming in the Arab countries. But how has the change affected the Palestinian cause?
It will affect, of course, and it is already affected. Why? Because all these countries who had their own spring now are busy with their own internal problems. They cannot give us time or efforts to help us now. So most of them are busy with what? With their own interests or own problems, either Tunisia, either Libya, or all of them. So this affected us. But we hope that they will come out this impasse. I don't know when, but I hope that they can come up and return back to their role.
Mr. President, one thing that always divided you from Hamas was that Hamas was resistant to recognizing Israel. But now we see that we have a Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt that is developing a functional relationship with the Israeli government, with Netanyahu and all that. Do you think that will also help you to come closer to Hamas, to be able to reconciliate and resolve your differences? I mean, is this an opportunity?
Yeah, and if you ask me about the position of Hamas that they do not recognize Israel, I don't think they are serious.
This is not true.
No, it's not true. Why? When we talk about the solutions, they say, okay, we are for two-state solutions. What do you mean by two-state solutions? 6, 7 borders. Okay, who is on the other side? He said, I don't recognize. Recognize what? If you say that I believe in two-state solution or two-state solution and on 6, 7 borders, then we demarcate the borders. Who is our neighbor?
So what's the real thing?
The real thing, as I told you in the beginning, the real problem is with us. If they go to elections, we will go, and if they win the elections, of course they will form the government and they will deal with the others, especially with Israel.
Are you hopeful of a reconciliation between the Palestinian people?
I hope at any time if they make their mind and accept.
So what went wrong with the Mitchell plan? When President Obama came, he appointed Senator Mitchell, but nothing really happened.
Mitchell didn't bring with him a map or plan. He came to us to find a compromise, and we accepted the compromise. But we had, at that time, demand. It is not a condition, because the Israelis used to say that it is a precondition, that we want the Israelis to cease settlement activities in our territories. They didn't accept. So we couldn't return back to the negotiating table. This is the problem. And this is who foiled, this is the reason which foiled Mitchell. And by the way, before he left the region, he came to me and told me, Abu Mazen, they foiled me, not us.
But Mr. President, if you look at the Israeli politics, from Ehud Barak, you have moved to Bibi Netanyahu, and who has started looking like a dove and a peacenik with the kind of politics that is being shaped inside Israel, if you look at the recent elections. How is this right-wing swing and drift, this extremism in the Israeli politics, going to affect the Palestinian politics?
Sometimes you cannot understand exactly the Israeli internal politics. Why? If you ask the ordinary people in polls, you make some polls, you will find 70% of the population of Israel are with peace. In the same time, they vote for the right wing. How? You cannot understand it. There is a joke in Israel that every two Israelis establish three parties. Every two Israelis establish three parties. So you cannot understand the nature of the political life in Israel. But all in all, they want peace, believe me. But all in all, the government doesn't believe in peace.
But is it affecting the Palestinians?
Of course. It affects us. Because there is no peace, it means that the situation, no war, no peace. And the occupation will continue. And our sufferings also will continue.
I was reading somewhere that some of the diplomats have been commenting that one of the biggest problem your government faces is the financial crunch and the squeeze. You facing it?
Yes,
because of the Israeli.
We are facing very, very severe financial problems. Why? Because till now we cannot make any use from our territories because we are forbidden from 60% of our territories to use it. We cannot receive, for instance, tourists in Jerusalem and in Bethlehem. And if we have the right to receive, for instance, what you call it, the religious tourism, we can receive at least 6 million visitors a year, which means that we can live with this revenues. Besides that, we used to receive donating from the Arabs and from America. And by the way, when we decided to go to the United Nations, the Americans ceased their help to us.
Mr. President, how can Pakistan, being a member of the OIC and also being a non-permanent member of the Security Council, help you in some way in this case?
If Pakistan decides to go to be a member, we will a member in the Security Council. Of course, we will be very happy because we believe that we have ally, not ally, we have brother in the Security Council. So any place Pakistan will be, of course, it will be a very, very good figure to us or very good factor to us. And by the way, we today with the president we established what we call it a joint committee on a ministerial level between us and Pakistan in order to develop our relations between Pakistan and Palestine, not only politically but in all aspects.
There is a very tricky question. You have recognized in 1993 Israel as a state, Israel's right to exist. Yeah. Pakistan hasn't, India has, which was leader of the non-aligned movement. Do you think if Pakistan also recognizes Israel, will it help the Palestinian cause?
We will, and it's better to wait until Israel accepts the Arab Peace Initiative. Because if Israel accepts, all the Arabs and the Muslims have the right to recognize Israel and talk to the Israelis. But when you talk about India recognizes Israel and Pakistan doesn't, we will find also some Arab countries, all the Gulf countries, do not recognize Israel. All the north part of Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, do not recognize Israel. When they ask us, we will tell them, okay, you have the Arab Peace Initiative. When Israel accepts, all of you can recognize Israel.
Mr. President, there was a time when India, being the leader of the non-aligned movement in 60s and in 70s, before it moved close to the United States and accepted Israel, it used to champion the Palestinian cause. India was a support to the Palestinian cause.
And yes, support.
Now, after recognizing Israel and moving to strategic partnership with the United States, how has Indian relationship with Palestine changed?
It's good. Believe me, it's good relations between us and India. We have very good relations. Very good. And they help us a lot. Wherever we ask, whatever we ask, they try to help.
Sometimes people in Pakistan feel that PLO has been less sympathetic or vocal about the Kashmiri cause, which is Pakistan's issue.
We have sympathy with Pakistan, we have sympathy with India, and we said many, many times, if you want to solve this problem, sit together and you find a solution. Without that, it is very difficult to find a solution. We believe that there is a problem, which is what you call it Kashmir problem. And last visit when I came here, I came from India. And we talked about this specific point. And I talked with the president, and I think that they met after our visit, they met. We urge both sides to sit on the table. You are neighbors, you have many relations, many specific relations. I think if you sit together, you will find a solution, and we will be very happy.
Mr. President, I understand that you have to rush for the meeting and the dinner, but one question I wanted to ask you. I mean, you have been witness to history. You have worked with Arafat. You have seen the changing Muslim leadership. There was a time when we had leadership like Nasser and Sadat and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto or Faisal in the Muslim world, or Hawari Boumediene. Now we don't see the same kind of tall characters in the Muslim world. Where do you think the Muslim youth should take the inspiration from? What has happened? What went wrong?
No, we want the dust to be settled after the Arab Spring, and after that we will see who will be with us, who will not be with us.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.